Hi, folks. My name is Mark Whitney. I started the THELAWNET Corporation 15 years ago to make it easier for attorneys everywhere to search the entire universe of judicial opinions from coast to coast at an affordable price. And again, we've been around for 15 years. It's been a successful company. One of the things I'm excited about is the new tools we have available to communicate a set of best practices on how to conduct legal research using a computer, which is how legal research is done these days. One of the things we could begin doing is just stop using phrases like computer-based legal research. Legal research is done on a computer, but we do not have a set of best practices for purposes of conducting such research. And everything I'm going to show you here today, you can use whether you're a Westlaw, Lexis subscriber, no matter the service you use. If you're not a customer, we would love to have you as a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, then consider this a great little training module. Now, the sample searches I'm going to do here today, I have not pre-configured them or pre-run them. I haven't run them before. And to hammer home the point, what I did is I went out and I selected a case right from the headlines. I'm recording this video on February 13th, Friday, February 13th, 2015. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, this guy, Sheldon Silver, right here, he got in trouble with the feds. They brought him in, and he's another public official that is facing having to contend with this idea of honest services fraud, where you are in a fiduciary position, you hold a position of trust vis-a-vis the people, and you do something that you shouldn't do. Not so much a bribe, but more of a wink and a nod. The honest services fraud statute was used to convict the former governor of Virginia. The New York Times recently did a piece on Chris Christie and his love for expensive trips and hanging out with billionaires. And the article focused on New Jersey ethics laws, didn't mention honest services fraud. It's a very powerful statute. And one of the reasons I know this for a fact is because back in October, I saw this piece in the Washington Post written by a very successful attorney named Kevin Ring, who happens to be sitting in federal prison having been convicted of honest services fraud. He was associated with Jack Abramoff, who I'm sure you know. And Mr. Ring writes, quote unquote, from his prison bunk in Maryland, he says, "I offer the unsolicited but hard-learned advice for lawmakers and lobbyists. The right amount when setting statutory limits on what public officials can and can't take." Kevin Ring says the right amount would be 0. And he says that in light of the honest services fraud statute. So what we're going to do today is fantasize that we are in fact Sheldon Silver's defense attorney, okay? So we've got a guy here who's been in politics for a long time, and now he's caught up in the crosshairs, and he's looking at hard time. So it's a federal criminal case, and it's in New York, so we know it's going to be in the Second Circuit. And we know that the statute is 18 U.S.C. Section 1346. There it is. And this is just a statute that Congress passed, and all it does is add a definition. It says, for the purposes of this chapter, the term scheme or artifice to defraud includes a scheme or artifice to deprive another of the intangible right of honest services. So if you execute a scheme or artifice that implicates the mail or it implicates the wires, maybe somebody sends somebody an email saying, hey, that's what took down Governor O'Donnell. This is the statute that is going to come into play. So what you do is you just pound the statute in exactly as you would expect to see it cited in a case, and you put it in quotation marks to force the search engine to see what we just entered as a phrase. And then I am going to restrict our search to all federal appellate cases for now. Because what I want to do is just go out and establish the universe of opinions. So instead of typing in honest services fraud, I'm anchoring my query with the code assigned to the item of information that's driving my search. If your client is charged pursuant to a particular statute, that's the law that is going to define the next year or two of your life as this person's representative. So we have 275 judicial opinions at the federal appellate level. This includes the 12 federal circuits and the U.S. Supreme Court that mention this statute. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and I am going to add into this. Let's assume that there's going to be a guilty plea, which is a fair assumption because that is how 90% of federal criminal cases resolve. So if there's going to be a guilty plea, that means Mr. Silver is then going to be very concerned about a certain federal sentencing guideline. Let me just see if I can put my hands on that. Here, it's going to be Section 2C1.1b3 of the federal sentencing guidelines. So I'm just going to put that in, 2C1.1b3. See how I did that, right? So what's going to happen here? Now, you see how I didn't use quotation marks? Because I don't have to. I don't have to use them here because there are no spaces in my search term. So this query is asking the robot to find opinions that contain at least one reference to the honest services fraud statute and at least one reference to this sentencing guideline, this federal sentencing guideline, which says if your client holds a high position of trust, then there's going to be a base offense level of 18 you have to concern yourself with. And we go to the federal sentencing guidelines, and we see that that is 27 to 33 months in prison, the base level offense of 18, assuming you haven't been convicted of anything else before. So without getting into any of the other particulars of Mr. Silver's case, let's say we hammer out a plea agreement, and it is agreed that this guideline is applicable, or we want to see the extent to which it's applicable, or we just want to make ourselves a subject matter expert with regard to the universe of opinions on the planet that mention honest services fraud and this very specific subset of a general sentencing guideline at the federal level. So we go from 100-something cases down to 7. So if I read these 7 opinions, I'm going to know everything I need to know about cases that construe this guideline in the context of honest services fraud. Now, I may want to go back, and if the honest services fraud at issue is the mail or wire fraud statute, I might want to do a broader search like this and just change it. 1341, I think, is it's either the wire fraud or the mail fraud statute. So there are 5 opinions there. And then 1343 is either the wire or mail fraud statute. So let's see what we got here. So we got another 11. So we got 11 opinions construing the one of the fraud statutes and our guideline. We have 7 opinions construing another one of the fraud statutes and our guideline. And we have 7 opinions construing the honest services fraud definition statute and our guideline. See how easy that is? And you don't miss anything. I mean, whatever there is to find, there it is. Now, from there, this case is going to play out in the Southern District of New York, which is in the Second Circuit. From there, you can cherry pick circuits. And I can say, what subset of these 11 opinions are in the Second Circuit? And in this case, one of them is, right? Out of the 11. I could go back. I could have configured that at the outset this way. I could have said, I want to just look in the Second Circuit. That's what I want to do. And I want to do it this way. I want to just get everything in the Second Circuit all at once. So I'm going to get it this way. I'm going to use parentheses. The only time you use parentheses, remember algebra, right? The only time you use parentheses is when you are grouping or, and grouping things by or. So you're asking for alternatives. So I'm going to say, give me cases in the Second Circuit that mention mail fraud, wire fraud, or honest services fraud. But also mention this federal sentencing guideline. So this is a great query because this is just going to vacuum up everything in the Second Circuit that is potentially relevant to this plea agreement. See how I have the Second Circuit only checked? So that's the only database activated. And since this is playing out in the Southern District, we could just go down and add the Southern District of New York here. Where is it? Right there, right? So we have those two things activated. So let's see how many opinions we find. 1. Still just the 1. All right? And if I want to expand that to include all federal appellate, in one quick search, I can vacuum up everything that mentions, just to be clear, okay, the query says, I want to see every opinion from a federal appellate court that includes at least one reference to either the mail fraud statute, the wire fraud statute, or the honest services definition statute, and also mentions this very specific sentencing guideline. So the aggregate result of that query is 13 opinions. And if you were representing Mr. Silver, you would be reading every word of these opinions. You would not be asking yourself at this point whether each of these opinions is good law, or this is just a hot list based on a specific search of an entire index of 6 million judicial opinions, and we pull back exactly what we want. And that's what I wanted you to know how to do today. Now, if you are not a subscriber and you want to be able to use this database, you can do this for less than $50 a month annualized. $575, you got a subscription for 1 year, subject to a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. You can install it work at home on your laptop. Your assistant, non-lawyer, can do the same. What else do I want you to know about this? Phone numbers, toll-free, 877-4LAWNET, toll-free, 877-4LAWNET, or you can email postmaster@thelaw.net if you have questions. Otherwise, if you just go to our website, you can swipe your credit card. You'll be up and running in 5 minutes. And our software runs on Apple, runs on Windows, and you will be very happy, just like the other folks who have been using the LawNet and renew year after year. We provide great support 7 days a week, and we look forward to having you as a subscriber. Also, if you are interested in us doing research for you, if you have some legal research question that's been driving you crazy, or you have some new theory that you would like to test, we do contract legal research by the hour. We don't write briefs. We don't ghostwrite briefs. What we do is we go out and we find what there is to find for you. So if you're someone that isn't comfortable on computers, don't care about learning, or you just feel like maybe we'd be better, we will do it for you, and we'll roll the results up, and we'll do that for a fee based on, the nature of what you want us to do for you. Additionally, we're getting into the business of installing studios like this. If you are an attorney in whatever size practice or your firm, if you would like to take your firm national or brand your firm, and you think it would be helpful for you to know how to do what I'm doing here, and you would like to have a turnkey studio just like this installed in a room in your office that, if it's 15 by 15 feet square, we will also set that studio up for you so you can begin producing YouTube videos and a podcast or whatever you think might advance the brand or advance the skill set that you have to offer to the universe out there. So I am Mark Whitney, president of TheLaw.net, and that's what we came in here to do today, and we will see you again next time. We're going to be doing many of these videos throughout the rest of the year. Thanks a lot.